Okay, excellent. So we're recording everything. All right, let's get started. I'm going to give Brittany a couple of minutes and then I'll just add her in. But why don't we just get started with an introduction? We have a few people that joined us already. So why don't we just give everybody like a heads up who we are, what we're talking about today, and all that fun stuff.
Okay, I can go first. I'm Andrea, and I am assistant at Sullivan Dental Partners in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, awesome. And we had Dr. Sullivan join us a couple weeks back. So did you watch that webinar with him?
I did, yeah.
You did? Yeah, we talked about you.
I saw.
Yeah, she was like, oh, we got to bring Andrea on and talk about inventory. So, Tiger and I took a note and he told me, hey, let's reach out to Andrea and bring her on here.
Great, well, I'm glad we did.
And Shelby.
Hi, I'm Shelby. I'm a hygienist here in Southwest Nebraska. I've been a hygienist for 7 years now.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Brittany. Can you hear and see all of us? I think Brittany's still joining. Let's give her a second. Tiger says hi, Andrea. Can you go to the comments?
Hey, Tiger.
Yeah. Brittany, we can't see you or hear you. Can you just jump in the chat and let us know if you can see and hear everything? So when Iryna talks, you can echo. Let me put on the headset. Andrea, can you say something?
Something.
Let me try the headset. Yeah, I had my team told me to hear an echo as well. Is this any better?
No, I almost wonder if I have my volume turned down a little bit. I don't know if it's picking up on another computer or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. How about now? Same thing?
Same thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. We tried it this morning and we didn't have any echo. So let me just take everything off.
I'm just going to take off my headset. Yeah, I don't know. My team said that everything is fine on my end. So I don't know. Let's just get started. Let's start talking. See how it goes. Brittany, thank you so much for joining us. Can you just start out with an introduction, what office you're from, and just a couple things about yourself? I don't know if Brittany can hear us.
Yeah.
Let me just.
Working.
Tiger says there's way too much. I can hear it a little bit when I speak, but not when Andrea speaks. And then with Shelby, I have a hard time hearing you during the intro.
I can't hear Andrea a lot at all. I can only hear you.
So you can't hear Andrea at all?
No.
Let me ask.
Turning yourself louder.
I can hear both of you. For Shelby, there's a little hard to hear. Give me a second. It's interesting that we can't hear Brittany. Everyone else sounds great. So Amber hears an echo from Iryna. Okay, let me check with my team. Sorry, everyone. Difficulties going on here. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see what we can do, even with the echo. And then Brittany, let me just see her message again. Andrea, do you hear the echo now?
Yeah, I can.
I hear it a little bit too, even more than before. I don't see Brittany on the list of participants. I don't hear the echo anymore. Do you?
Oh yeah, no, that's good.
Oh, so
I don't. But now it's just the two of us.
Yeah. So Shelby says she'll try to join from her phone. 1 second. Thank you, Amber. We'll try that. Can you tell me if this is a little better, or you still hear the echo when I'm speaking?
It sounds fine to me.
Yeah, same. It's gone. So I wonder if there was something with like Shelby's computer.
I almost wonder if she didn't have the volume turned all the way up, and then it was just coming back through the microphone.
Yeah, I guess that's what it was. Well, let's see if Shelby's able to join us through her phone. And I just want to bring Brittany on here as well. I think she's just having some connection difficulties. I don't know. She's not connecting. So we'll have to do the intro all over again. Sorry, Andrea. Yeah, we tried it this morning. Everything was fine. So I think it's just, let's see, something with the microphones here. Sorry, everyone. We're just waiting. Shelby, let me see if I can add you back in, okay? So you're using your phone, right? Okay, I'm adding you back in, and then I just don't see Brittany on the list. So we'll just have to get started, and hopefully she'll jump back on. Okay, let's see if this does it. Okay. Hi, Brittany. Okay, go ahead and I don't know if you're on mute. I don't see here. No, you're not on mute. Can you say something? Because we can't hear you. But we can see you, so that's good. And Shelby. Okay, Shelby, I'm adding you back on. I don't know. It's just waiting for you to connect at this point. Okay, awesome.
There.
Are you using your phone now?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And I can hear Andrea now. I couldn't before, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think I can.
Okay.
There's no
and Brittany says that she can see us, but she cannot hear anything. I don't think I didn't mute you or anything, did I? No, you're not muted, so I'm not sure. Just jump in the chat and let us know if anything changes. I'm just going to try to mute and unmute Amber. Thank you for letting us know. I just think it's somebody's computer or something like that. I can see somebody's dog. The beauty of working from home. Sorry, guys. I know we're like 8 minutes into just figuring all these things out.
I can
I want to make sure everybody can hear us. So
Okay.
let me check here. Okay, Brittany, I just muted and unmuted you. I don't know if that helps in any way or form. I'm just trying to do what I can here from my end. Just jump in the chat. Let me know if you can hear us now. Otherwise, we'll just have to get started and go one by one. And hopefully maybe if you like disconnect and try to reconnect again, something will change. I don't know. Okay, well, once again, sorry, ladies. Let's go one by one and just give everybody an intro. I'll go first. So my name's Iryna. I'm the Client Success Coordinator at Zen Supplies. And as all of you have seen, we started out with the live events a couple weeks ago. So we had a couple other assistants at the end of March join me, and we just talked about how things are within their office. We touched briefly on inventory, but after we spoke with Dr. Sullivan, we decided to bring back Andrea, and we asked Shelby and Brittany to join us as well, because all of you are rock stars at organizing your inventory and using Zen. So just go by one and let us know what office you're from and your names, please.
I'm Andrea, and I work at Sullivan Dental Partners in Nashville, Brentwood, Tennessee, but it's right outside of Nashville. And I wouldn't say, I guess, I'm a rock star at inventory by any means, but I'm working on it.
Dr. Sullivan says so, I'm sure. Okay, Shelby, and you?
My name is Shelby. I'm a hygienist here at Southwest Nebraska Dental Center in McCook. So
awesome. Okay, and Brittany, she hasn't. Let me try to see if I can add her back. Brittany is from Castle Peak Dental in Colorado. So let me see if I can just add her in, and hopefully she can share a little bit with us as well. Let's try it again. Brittany, we're going to try this for the third time. I hope it works. I'm just letting you back in with the camera, waiting for you to accept, and cool. It says that you accepted. Okay, awesome. Brittany, any luck now?
Hello.
Yay!
Hi.
This is
So
working.
sorry, that was
Okay,
such
so
a
cool.
problem.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know what it was, but we can hear everybody, so we can get started. Brittany, I gave everybody a little bit of an intro. I told them your name. I told them the practice you're from. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm the lead assistant at my office. We have 2 offices, one 20 minutes from us, and I'm in charge of ordering and the inventory.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's jump in. I'm sure all of you guys got my email with the agenda. We have a few things we'd like to cover today. So why don't we start with Andrea, since you were the first one to join today. So I'll be picking you as the first person to share all of this stuff with us. So let's talk about our step-by-step process of ordering in your office. And then I'll share a couple of things that I've done for my office back when I was a dental assistant at a few practices here in Chicago. So, but we'll have you share first. Andrea, we're ready for you.
Okay, so to a degree, it's all kind of a team effort as far as like counting up the inventory, because we have all kinds of little small bits and pieces, as I'm sure you all do. But basically, I'm kind of the one that just pushes through the order at the end of the week or whenever we decide to order. Hopefully, we try to do like once a week ordering, but that doesn't always work out. But yeah, pretty much everybody in the office, we have one hygienist that kind of takes care of their things, just because we don't, that's kind of like their realm, I guess. And so I'm curious to see how you, Shelby, you're the hygienist, right? Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see how you do things from like the restorative side, ordering like, all the crazy things that your assistants might need. But yeah, so they kind of just let us know when we get low on things, and then I just I pretty much in the one changing all of the numbers on Zen, just because I don't know if part of it's me being a control freak, because I just want to know or not, but I kind of take that on mostly.
Gotcha.
And then I just try to do like once a week ordering, but that's pretty much it. I mean, Zen has definitely helped. It's like really been nice to have everything on one platform.
Absolutely. So you said you're like a little bit of a control freak doing all of this by yourself. Do you have any other assistants or team members within your practice using Zen to stay organized?
Yeah, well, they all kind of know somewhat of like how to do it, which I've been using a lot of like this downtime to try and take photos of the things that we don't have now, because you guys have changed so much on Zen. I told Tiger that I was really impressed with the changes he made, but
yay.
Just being able to kind of make it easier for them, because like being, I guess I've been changing a lot of the names of the products and stuff like that, just so that it's easier for them to see what things are and change stuff on their own. But
right,
I am kind of still a control freak, so.
Hey, and I'm sure the other ladies here today will say something similar when it comes to ordering. Like, I've been there before. It's like, this is my thing. This is what I do. Like I know what we need. Mm-hmm. So, Shelby, how about you? What is your ordering process like in your office?
I do all of the hygiene ordering for sure. There's 3 of us like hygienists full time. So I do all of the hygiene stuff and make sure all of that's done. And then we do have one assistant who does most of the restorative stuff, but I feel like honestly we have like really good teamwork, because she'll be like, hey, we're out of gloves, and then I'll go through and like I'll order whatever we need to, or I'll be like, I need prophy angles. And Zen's been great too, because like I like to order and stuff, so I went through and like changed all the tabs, so like all my current like hygiene products that I want, they're like in one spot, so I can be like order prophy angles and they know exactly which ones to get. And then I like categorized everything, so like all of my burrs are together and everything, so we don't have to keep like searching for stuff, to make it easier. Right. Especially like when I was on like maternity leave with my kids and stuff, then like the other hygienist could log in and do it and not have to be like, I don't know what I'm doing or where I did anything.
I'm sure we've all been there before. Yeah, if it's like the one person in your office who takes care of this particular task, and when they're gone, you feel so bad like texting them and be like, hey, can you tell me how you do this? Like, yeah, for sure. You mentioned burrs, and I had a thought. The other day we had a webinar. Tiger was leading this webinar on Marie Kondo style organizing within your office. I'm sure you've seen it on Zen. And we talked about tip out bins. Do any of your offices use tip out bins to stay organized, like with burrs and hygiene products?
So right now, no. We're in the process of getting a new office. Hopefully, as soon as all this coronavirus stuff goes down. But currently, our Marie Kondo style is not up to Tiger's standards, I'm sure. But
Tiger, no. We need help.
In the future, that's the plan for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm hoping we do. So we were supposed to move a couple weeks ago. So we're in the process of like seeing emergency patients at our old office and getting everything moved. We were actually supposed to be in Chicago last week to meet with Tiger and finalize all of our storage stuff. But
yeah, change of plans with everything.
Yeah. So I think that's a plan for the new office when we get there, hopefully in like 2 weeks.
Gotcha. Yeah, hopefully, because right now it's like we don't know when we're going back to work, when the offices are opening back up. So like every time I get phone calls from Zen users or I do the trainings, and we don't know like when can we verify the orders, when can we go like this part of the training, because we just simply don't know when everyone's opening up. Brittany, share with us, please. What is your inventory process like in your office?
Yeah, so it's just me mainly ordering everything for restorative side and hygiene. We have 3 hygienists and 3.5 doctors. We have tip out bins in our office, so that's been a huge help keeping everything organized. But basically, I just my ordering, it's usually on Mondays, so every other Monday, I make sure hygiene is responsible for their side. They get everything that they need stocked in their operatories. The assistants do it on the doctor's side. And then I kind of just go through what we're low, what we need. I have a whiteboard in the back so that if like a hygienist or a doctor needs something ordered that I don't personally see, I just have them write down what they need with their initials if I have questions. And I kind of just use Zen to order it through. The tip out bins have definitely been a huge help, though, for sure.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm just taking some notes here. And I like that you mentioned the whiteboard. Thank you for sharing with all of us. Andrea and Shelby, let us know what you guys use, because the office that I come from, I just had like a folder and I would just write everything down there, like go through, through the lab and just go through our sterilization area, because we had a really small office, only 2 operatories. So I would just go through, see what we need. We weren't using Zen. So like when I found out about Zen, I was like, oh my goodness, this is like a godsend feature. So like of the dental world. But the whiteboard is a really cool idea. Do you guys have it on the wall, or is it you just like carry it from place to place?
No, I'd put it on the wall, kind of where the tip out bins and the rest of our inventory is, just so it's all in one place.
That's so cool. I love that. Yeah, that's another conversation we had this morning with the Zen team. We just talked about like going paperless completely. And we spoke about an office that I've worked for in the past, and we had the doctor that kept the charts for like 20 years. So like there were patients that he has not seen within 15 years, but he was keeping the charts. And we had a pretty big office. We had 5 operatories, and then we had a second floor, and there was just like a clutter room. And it was like, oh my goodness, you go in there, and if a patient calls and they say, hey, I haven't seen the doctor for the last 12 years. I need to come back in. I have an emergency. Like you would go in there, find the chart, because we weren't fully paperless. So it would literally take you 3 days to find this chart, because you have to go one by one. There weren't really like color coded or anything. So that took us a long time. So I guess this leads into my next point for today. So what do we do if our offices are fully cluttered and I'm a hoarder? Like if I'm somebody that like, I'm a doctor or, whoever within the practice on the team, just like collecting all this stuff, and I just can't say no. Like I'm not Marie Kondo. I can't just like, it doesn't bring me joy, but I can't say no. What advice do we have for these offices?
Oh gosh. Well, it's hard because
Yeah.
I mean, if there's like an old piece of equipment that's collecting dust, but your doctor wants to hold on to it, I don't know. I don't know the answer. There's a couple times that we've like put things in their truck beds before. Just take it home.
Just take it home. Just make that story up in your house. Okay, Shelby, do you have any advice?
Our old dentist before he retired, he was kind of like that. So we just had stuff, but like lately we do a ton of purges. Like we find more stuff. Honestly, I don't know. Like I swear it multiplies, because like we'll go through and we'll get rid of a ton of stuff, and then it's just like all back. So I think just like, I mean, even like with our hygiene rooms and stuff, we just go through it every once in a while and just make sure, ourselves, like we're accountable for not having just junk everywhere.
Absolutely. And then if you need something, you cannot find it. If you have all of those items, like when you mentioned the hygiene rooms, I remember like our hygiene room, it was just a mess. Like you could not find anything. Like we had some kids coming in and they like a certain prophy paste, and we just had like, they weren't like color coded or organized by flavor or anything. We just had like this whole entire jar, and you just dig in there and you just try to find the strawberry flavor, and best of luck to you. So, and it's like, you have to tell the kid like, hey, sorry, like we don't have strawberry today. Like, oh my gosh, it was like such a heartbreaking. It's just so disappointing. So, Brittany, any advice from you?
It's so hard. I think it depends on like the doctor and the team as well. Like Shelby, our office is pretty good about purging and getting rid of junk. We try to keep nothing in the operatories that aren't more than a week's worth, so that we're not hoarding or overstocking the rooms. In the lab, we took off all the doors on our cabinets just so everything's visible, and just definitely purging as often as possible. Especially now with the quarantine, there's so much downtime to do so.
I love that idea that you mentioned about taking the doors off. We spoke about this on the webinar that I mentioned earlier when Tiger had the Marie Kondo style inventory process. And all of the offices that I've worked for, we've had the doors on all of the cabinets. I think it's a really cool idea because you have that like visual. You come in, where everything is. And especially our endo drawer, I think it was even worse than hygiene because we had so many files, so many different materials.
Oh, yeah.
This like one pull-out drawer. And if, this is another thing we talked about on one of the webinars. It's like, especially I felt this way with endo. Like, share with us if you felt this way with any other procedures. Like if we're doing a root canal and there's something like a specific file, we had like 5 different boxes with different files within those boxes. And so like to go through and to find that one file that the doctor is asking for, it's not going to take you a few seconds. It'll take you a couple minutes. And like that couple minutes within like limited time that you have a procedure going on, it's crazy. Any advice for endo organization for our offices?
Oh gosh, endo's the worst.
Yeah.
We have like a cabinet that has
endo.
What was that?
I don't know, like how it just crossed my mind right now. Like we started talking about hygiene and then I remembered endo was like my least favorite way to I liked root canals. I really liked assisting on root canals. I know a lot of people tend to like fall asleep. They're like, oh my goodness, it's so boring. But it's the question is, yeah, like how do you organize? I'm sorry, Andrea, I didn't mean to cut you off. How do you organize endo files?
We have like a small basket that usually we try to keep like what you need for like, because there's so many things, parts and pieces that go into. So if we just can kind of keep this one little basket from the cart, and then at that point, like before, I guess each thing, you just take the whole basket in there.
Okay. So you just carry the basket. Like if you have like if 3 endo patients like back to back, you would just carry it from like one operatory to the other one with a basket full of endo materials, right?
Well, I mean, not necessarily, I guess. Because I mean, you always just like, you're just grabbing from the basket. So you have to kind of like sterilize everything before you just take it into another thing. But that's helpful to me, I guess, to just kind of have it right there on hand. Right. And you kind of, I guess, our doctors are pretty predictable with endo. They want like 3 different files and 3 different, usually. I say that. He's probably watching like, yeah, Riley.
Yeah, it's like a little test. Dr. Sullivan's like taking notes here. Yeah, but I have to agree that usually with endo, you would know, like you would predict like this is the file that the doctor will ask for, also dependent on the tooth number, of course, but like you would generally know. Shelby, any advice here from endo? I know like you're probably not really like working with endo much, but anything you can share with us?
Our endo is all like almost like in a little tackle box because we haven't moved, so everything's together, like our files, like the paper point, like everything's together, and then like they can wipe it down and then they can take it. When we do move, we're getting like a cart and stuff, but we have like one endo drawer, but otherwise like that little box they keep stocked, and then they just pull from that and take it with them per ob.
That's awesome. Well, it's a good way to stay organized. You just kind of have everything like in one box there. I like that. Definitely not what we had in our office. Oh my gosh. These are like, I'm taking notes too for the future, so I know. Oh my gosh. Brittany, how is the endo process? What's the endo process like in your office?
We have 2 different endo carts that are pretty much the same with everything in it, just if we have a couple doctors doing endo at the same time. And each drawer on the carts are labeled, files in one spot, instruments in another, just to make sure it all kind of stays together, and like everyone else, being able to move it from room to room is as easy and efficiently as possible.
Gotcha. Well, that's so cool. And how about restorative? For restorative procedures, like any sort of bondings and composites, what's your guys' take on where do you keep all of those materials? So if we don't have tip-out bins within our office, what's the best way to, I guess, like transfer it from room to room to have all of this materials available if it's like an emergency patient? So you can't really predict, like you don't know like what shade you're going to use. You don't know like what's the situation going to be like. So I guess my question is like, how do your offices do this?
We have cabinets in the operatories, that have like all of the generic, like, or just general restorative stuff, like bonding and etch and composite. And then on our composite kits we just have little, almost like a little like tackle box kind of thing, or like little box that has different compartments for each shade in each operatory.
Oh, that's so cool. That's an excellent way to stay organized. I'll share at the end what we had in my office. Shelby, and how about you guys?
Yeah, that's what like our normal. Each room has a composite tray and stuff, like with our most common stuff. And then like if we would need something crazy, then we'll just go and restock it from like the drawer where composite's at right now. But otherwise, like I mean, today when I saw emergency patients and assisted, like each of our 3 like restorative ops have one, so we just have to pull from there.
That's awesome. And Brittany, do you have something similar in each operatory for different shades of composite material?
No, we keep everything in. We have like a restorative bin, I guess, and a crown prep bin. We have one of each in each operatory that has kind of all our materials for fillings, crowns. That way it's all in one little container, I guess, that we could just pick it up and move it if needed.
Gotcha. That's so cool. Yeah. So what I mentioned in the beginning of our restorative conversation, we didn't have any of that. And now that I think about it, like that's so cool. We had all different shades in each office. We just had like this circle, like rotating box, I guess you would call it. And it had like these circle compartments. So we use Gerastore the most. So we just like put different shades of Gerastore within that circle. So like you would just rotate it and take it out. And then you would carry it from operatory to operatory. So with one doctor, we just had one doctor in our office. So I guess it worked. But then the biggest fear everybody had is like, what if you're carrying this thing and you trip and you fall and you have everything in the circle? So like if you drop it, you're done. So like that's it. You know, there's no way going back. So I really like the idea of just having it in each operatory and having it right there. But it's a little hard to do, like if your office is tiny and your operatories like just don't have that space. And if the doors are still in the cabinets, I see that, you know, being another potential challenge. So I like the idea with the tip-out bins for sure. Let's jump into our next point. I kind of like jumped through our second part, which was just excellent examples of an inventory process. Can all of you just go one by one and share with us what's that like ideal inventory process for you, and what would you do to change your current process? Like where can you improve?
I kind of thinking about that actually, with kind of backing up on what we said about like the endo and all of that, with there's being so many parts and pieces.
Sure.
Kind of maybe just, well, losing some of my like control freak personality, but maybe just kind of like giving other people the opportunity to take on at least counting the inventory once every couple weeks. In like someone has endo, someone has, you know, surgical stuff, someone has like our CEREC, you know, things, just trying to keep it like a little more of a team effort. Just because I can literally be there all day just counting stuff if I'm not available. And then we haven't, we used ZenOut for a little bit. I don't know if anybody used that, but where you like kind of track as you use things. But I found that I didn't really trust that either. Just because it's easy to just open a box of something, be in a hurry and not think about putting it in the iPad. So that to me, I felt like was, you know, I still would count it. So yeah, that's something I thought about trying to implement when we get back, just getting everybody to kind of like take on one section of ordering, or at least like counting up the inventory.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm making a note of that. It's interesting. Shelby, how about in your office? Are you and your assistants using ZenOut for the same purposes like Andrea mentioned? No? Well, it's just easier to like write it down and just go like that to see like what you're...
Yeah. We have been. It's just kind of hard, like in our office, like I keep going back to it, but we are moving in a couple weeks. But like in our current office, like we have a back storage room, which is like across the waiting room and stuff from like our patients, and then that's where a lot of our stuff is. But some composite stuff's here, and like nothing's together. And then like burrs are in the lab, and then hygiene's in one spot, but then composites like in 3. You know, just getting everything together, I think is going to help us a lot, instead of literally going all over the office to try to make sure that everything's together.
Gotcha. Okay. And then Brittany, what about in your office as far as ZenOut? Anything you'd like to share?
We used to use ZenOut. I think when we were a lot smaller, it was easier. There was only 4 of us in the back, so it was easy for us to kind of make sure it was getting done. But now that we're so much bigger, I found it's easier not to do Zen out just because not everyone's on the same page. And like Andrea said, it's easy for someone to open a box of gloves and forget to put it in there.
Yeah.
I think we're lucky that we have all our inventory in one spot. Like we have the tip out bins, we have shelves for the bulkier stuff. So it's easier for me to be able to see everything and count everything. And then the whiteboard definitely helps if other team members feel like they want to, you know, something they're out of that I didn't recognize, or they want something else ordered. It's just a good way to keep track of everything. Gotcha.
That's really cool. Yeah, I totally agree. Dr. Sullivan sent a comment, Andrea. Let's see what he said. So he said that it's always a challenge to really buy into centralized storage, as so many offices weren't built or designed appropriately. So you tend to have so many places of storage. Yeah, I totally agree. And I was actually talking to Tiger about this the other day. Because like I felt like we just had storage space everywhere. And in that webinar, I'm sure you guys have seen pictures of his PowerPoint. You will see, you know, your cabinets, and then like kind of like what you can see right there happening in my cabinet. You just have a bunch of stuff piled up in the front. Like I just have some envelopes there. Well, why? I don't even know why. And so like in our office, we had like patient cups and some paper towels lined up all the way in the top there. We could have really used some other space for that. So that's an excellent point. Do any of you struggle with that actually, like we did, just kind of like throwing things up there because you don't want to put it in the basement, you don't want to go downstairs, but you know you have extra up there? Anyone struggling with that sometimes?
Oh yeah, we have stuff in several locations in our office.
Okay. Gotcha. And Shelby, anything like that in your office?
Yeah, and I think if we run out of space, instead of like putting it in one spot, we just kind of honestly shove it like where it'll fit, and then we find stuff when we do our purges, like random stuff tucked places.
Yeah, good luck remembering where. Does anybody ever struggle with remembering where they put something? Or if it's like that one assistant that works part-time did that, and then you're like, I'm here full-time, where do I find this right now? I totally had that. I totally had that.
Well, and it's a struggle too, because sometimes you think you're out of something and then you find that you have like 3 or whatever it is somewhere else someone put away, just trying to find a spot for it.
Right.
So it's kind of like hard to not like over order or, you know.
Absolutely. And especially now, like I remember just ordering masks. I always ordered like a little extra, but I could have like in no way or form predicted that I would have needed this much extra considering the whole coronavirus situation. So like I remember trying to put lighter items up at the top, you know, above our cabinets, because I don't want the whole thing to collapse. You know, if I put like heavy paper towels there or something, it's really, really heavy for the hinges there. So Brittany, does your office struggle with something similar?
Not so much now that we've kind of built this space to put everything in one spot. It definitely used to be a struggle, kind of trying to keep everything in the rooms and in cabinets and drawers. I would always over order when I knew I had stuff, but since the tip out bins and the shelves and everything kind of in a centralized area, it's been definitely a whole lot easier.
I agree, for sure. Yeah, all of us that, you know, throw things in random places, we're taking notes. I'm totally taking notes. So for the future, very good to know. It's always interesting to me to see like how other practices do it and how other assistants stay organized, because like you can always learn more. So that's why we decided to just host a webinar where everybody shares their processes, just because it's the best way to learn for sure. Let's see. So now that we are all on lockdown and we have a lot of time on our hands, I know that, you know, like I read an article the other day that like all of those things that you wanted to do, like this is the excellent time to do them. And then somebody had an excellent point there that like they said that like this is just the time that you don't feel motivated. Like you don't feel, you know, like it's this crazy time in the world that's so scary, and you just don't feel motivated to do all those things. But how do we find motivation to still go in, stay organized? You know, if we have time, how do we stay organized during quarantine is my question, like for our offices, so we're ready when they open back up.
Gosh, I mean, I guess I've actually wanted to go in and not have no distractions, like without having to like worry about a patient or anything, just like be able to be in there by myself to kind of like get it, I guess, as ideal as we can. Because I have I mean, it's probably going to be even busier than before.
Yeah.
Once we don't start back up. So I guess just trying to make sure that we have everything we need. But it's hard to do when you're seeing patients all day long and, you know, running around and trying to like set up and break down operatories and stuff like that. So at some point when I can get motivated, I'm going to go in there and
like when you have a full schedule. And I remember myself, what I used to do was I would just come in an hour or two earlier for the workday and just try to go through the inventory before we started seeing patients. But it's just really hard to, you know, do this all the time, to do this weekly, to pick, like, especially on a Monday, like nobody wants to do this on a Monday. And there's always like, you know, if I think if it's just one person doing it, it helps, because it's just difficult to like assign those tasks to everybody, to just kind of like, oh, you come in this Monday, you come in the next Monday. So I was just usually the one doing that in my office. Brittany and Shelby, do you have any advice for our Zen users, just how to stay motivated during this time, to stay on top of your inventory and organizing your office, since we're not seeing patients at this time?
It's so hard because you're not really in the office much now, you know. Definitely my doctor keeping in constant communication, I think, has been a huge motivation and help. Just, you know, we have all the time to organize and perfect systems and figure different things out, that I think it's always good to stay in communication, whether it's your department or you and your doctor, just coming up with ideas so that when you do come back to work, or you can go in and there's no distractions, you can kind of start implementing it. That way, when it comes back to being full-time and busy, you kind of have a head start on it.
Absolutely. I agree. Totally. And I like that you mentioned the point about the constant communication. I was actually going to start talking about that next, but I'm just going to jump in and ask Shelby. Shelby, do you have any tips for Zen users and how they can stay organized during this time and motivated?
We took the time to super deep clean everything too. Like, I know sometimes we get bad with our hygiene stuff. Like, we throw potpourri paste up there and there's just stuff. So I had the other hygienist and we took everything out of our cupboards. We wiped everything, down the shelves and just made sure everything was clean, just things we don't have time to do normally, and then get that done, and then we can put stuff back and just get ready. Hopefully our goal was to get stuff together and then hopefully get ready to move here in a couple weeks. So that way our stuff's together, and that makes it easier instead of having stuff everywhere, and then any other girls could move it, and then it's all together.
Does your office have a day or a date set when they're planning to move?
We're hoping pretty soon. Our cabinets actually got quarantined, so they got here last week. So they're working on installing everything there. Yeah. So we're hoping that when we go back here in a few weeks, if we get to go back, that we'll just be in the new building. So.
Yeah, and who knows when that'll be. I hope it'll be sooner rather than later. So for sure. Let me see here. Courtney sent a comment and a question. So she says that our office is very organized for the storage bins that we have. We're currently looking for a new storage bin look. And are the tip-out bins aesthetically pleasing? Brittany, that's a question for you. Can you share with us?
They are, yeah. I think they're really nice. They're clear, so you can see everything that's in them, but it's really nice just to be able to visually see all the product that you have. And it just, when you have it in the right spot, it just blends really well. I love them. I think they're the greatest invention for dental, for sure.
And so you have a section with tips, right? Like cotton rolls and anesthetics. Yeah. Right, so it's just organized. Oh, that's so cool. I think it's my dream.
Yeah, we have.
If I had that, for sure.
I know. I'm such a control freak, and I love everything organized, and so it's great having literally everything in tip out bins except for the bulky stuff like gloves and masks. We don't keep in the tip out bins. We just leave them in the shelves across the little hall there, but everything else is in there.
Wow, I love that. Courtney, thank you so much for asking. She's typing something else. So let's see if we can answer any more of your questions before we jump into our next point. Very cool. We'll have to get some then. Thank you. Awesome. Yeah. So when we had the webinar a couple of days ago, Tiger mentioned some plastics. That's where the tip out bins are ordered from for the Zen offices. So I'm sure like Brittany knows that, right? That's where your tip out bins
Yeah.
from some plastics. Okay. And then after our webinar today, I will add in all of these links and the resources that we mentioned during the webinar. Right underneath the webinar, there's like a little section called notes. If you just log into your Zen account, you'll be able to see it there. And I'll just leave a note for myself to include Tip Out Bin's website there. So when we talked about the whole process right now, I had just something cross my mind. How do your offices stay in touch with your patients during this time? What kind of patient communication is your office going through?
Our offices have been, well, we're all on like one big text chain with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we've created like a list of like who is answering the phones each day or like answering the messages or whatever. And we have an app or a software that we use called Weave that gives us the opportunity to kind of like get into our phone lines. We can either text patients back or, answer phone calls from Weave. And I don't think it shows your actual phone number. I think it's just from the office number. So that's cool too.
So you're able to call them, text them through this platform, right?
Mm-hmm. And then everyone has a remote login access so that we can get to our schedule and see what's going on there. And
that's awesome. Shelby, what is your office doing to stay in touch with the patients?
We have like some limited like office hours.
Okay.
In Nebraska, because it's not mandated that we're closed. I mean, we can only see like emergency patients, but we use Yappy is what it's called, and that's where we like text patients, but then we also use that in the back too, because like when we summon our doctor, like our Yappy screen's up and the front desk will check them in, and we can send like communication messages that way, and I can be like, hey, I need an exam or whatever, and then that also allows us to text our patients, and then like our phone system's through Mango phones, so we have like, it'll just get forwarded to our cell phones, and it'll like show up as the office number and stuff when we're on call, doing it that way. And then our doctor also started doing like teledentistry, so like if patients can't come in, then she's doing some online exams and stuff that way if she can.
Yeah, when you mentioned that, I thought back to one of the first webinars we did at the end of March with Dr. Gina Dorfman. So we talked a lot about teledentistry and Yappy, so that's really cool. Brittany, how about in your office? How does your office stay in touch with the patients during quarantine?
We have one of our administrative staff there, limited hours, being able to answer phones, call patients, text, all that stuff. And then we're also utilizing the teledentistry so that doctors can talk to patients online.
For like emergency cases, right?
Yeah, correct, yes.
Okay. And as far as emergencies go, how many emergencies have your offices seen since we've all been on lockdown? Just curious.
I feel like it's like a day by day.
Yeah.
Like today I feel like we were slammed.
Yeah. I'm just curious because we had Ivana the other day here from Berwyn 360 in Chicago office, and she said like that Friday they were supposed to see 20 emergency patients, and it was interesting because she mentioned it was like 50% of their current patients and then like 50% new patients that have emergencies because all of the offices are closed right now. So since they're the ones seeing emergencies, she goes in the office and I think it's her and then the doctor and then the patient. So 3 people at once in the office. So they don't have a lot of people within one closed space. Brittany, and how about your office?
I feel like it's been pretty busy with emergencies kind of consistently. There's been a lot of offices around us that are closed and not really seeing even emergencies. So I think that's contributed to it a lot as well.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. This is just crazy. Like when we had the assistants on at the end of March for another live event, We were just like, nobody was prepared for this. Like, you live your everyday life like assisting, and you can never imagine that something like this will happen. And so like when it happens, it's kind of like, okay, like, I don't know, the life just completely turned like a whole 180. So different now. I had a question for Andrea. Andrea, when we invited Dr. Sullivan, he had brought up an excellent point about 3D printing. So like Tiger and I made a couple notes, and we wanted to ask you to share with all of us just a little bit about your 3D printing process. It's really cool. So can you please share?
Yeah, so we, I guess, started 3D printing in our office probably, I guess we've had a 3D printer for a while, but really kind of trying to implement it like more frequently.
Yeah.
So a lot of like with implant surgical guides. So we'll send a lot of things off to a lab where they kind of design the file for us, and then we'll bring it back and 3D print it there. So it's just kind of like cut down on lab costs and things like that. And then it's really been helpful for models. So if we take like a prime scan or a CEREC scan of a patient's mouth, we can kind of go ahead and 3D print a model. It's really been helpful that way for like retainers, so that we can just give them their models. And if they lose it or break it, they can we actually just had a patient mail us his models back because he broke his retainer. And then I just made him a new one and mailed it back to him. So it's kind of neat to just not have to worry about bringing them in for another impression and all of that. Still learning. But we've also been trying to work with 3D printed immediate dentures. That's kind of like been a little bit on my, like trying to learn while in quarantine how to really like nail that. But
that's incredible.
That's for sure.
So 3D printed dentures, right? Wow.
So we do a lot of cases where we do like implant supported dentures. So we'll like extract all of the teeth, and then, they don't necessarily want to go home with nothing. So it's actually worked pretty well. It's pretty neat.
That's so interesting. Well, I'm taking a lot of notes. If you have any sort of like resources or links that you'd like to share with other offices, let me know. Just send me an email and I'll share with everybody, because I'm sure other practices would love to look into that. I think it's really cool. And, Dr. Sullivan mentioned that during the webinar that it's like an excellent way just to cut down on lab costs. And I love those kind of the dentures. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
A lot of it's YouTube University. We're learning as we go, but it's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Shelby and Brittany, have you guys heard of 3D printing used for cutting down lab costs before?
I've heard of it briefly. We haven't really done much research or anything on it.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And Shelby, how about your office? Anything on 3D printing that you guys are working on?
No, currently.
It's really cool because Courtney just sent a message and she's asking, that's incredible. What's the success rate for that? Andrea?
The success rate for
for Courtney, are you referring to the dentures with the 3D printing, or just 3D printing as a whole to cut down the lab costs? I think most likely she's.
I guess I can answer both.
Yeah.
Lab cost?
I think so. Oh no, she said the dentures. Never mind.
Oh, it's actually been pretty good. So it's the same process. We'll take like a digital impression, still send it to a lab, but they only give us it's only like a design fee. So, we have the materials in office, and they send us the files back. And basically the dentures are in two separate like files. So one's like a base and one's the teeth. And then you 3D print one and like the base material, which is like pink, obviously. And then you print the teeth and then you put them together. It's pretty cool. We've actually had, we've only done a few, but
that's awesome.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just blown away. Like, you hear about like 3D printing all the time, and people just print like different, like something breaks in your house. I don't know. So they print like a tiny thing, like you can design stuff. I think it's awesome. But like for dental offices, I think it's a whole new thing starting out right now. So this is incredible. And what a good time to learn this stuff, Oh
yeah. Well, now that we have all this free time, actually we have a file to 3D print masks. So I think I might try and like see how that goes, at least to see if I can do one. We'll see.
Oh my gosh. That's
so really cool.
Yeah. Wow, I'm taking notes. This is incredible. So Courtney said that they're looking into getting a 3D printer, and it's cool to hear about it, the different ways to use it. I agree, because, you know, it usually like doesn't come to mind. Like once an office shares all of this information is when you're like, oh my gosh, we got to try this out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So I know we've talked a lot about the lockdown and just the quarantine. How are you staying busy? What are you doing during this time?
You mean like
just
at work or at home?
At work, at home, just share with all of us. I'm sure everybody would appreciate like a little tip on how to stay organized and just how to stay busy during this time and have this time fly by.
Oh yeah. Well, I think it's like also important to take like this time to kind of like enjoy it as time off too. You know, just to kind of, although I am not good at idle time, so I actually prefer to go into the office. But as far as the office goes, though, it's really nice to kind of like I said earlier, have like less distractions, only seeing a few patients per day, and just kind of being able to spend more time to like really think about organization and putting things up instead of just like being so, you know, busy and not having time. So I guess more of that is to try and let that continue as we do get busier.
Absolutely. It's hard to find all that time when you're in the office. And like also I just thought about ask Andrea about her cocktail skills. Andrea? I was going to talk about insurance, but here Dr. Sullivan is talking about cocktail skills, so we got to talk about that. We got to talk about insurance right now.
I've just been making quarantine cocktails and just trying to find new recipes, and it has just been a blast.
That's so awesome. Do you have like
you can pretty much do anything with a pretty glass and a good garnish.
Oh my gosh. Are you posting them on social media or anything?
Yeah. Well, at least on my stories.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh my gosh. Do you have different names for them too?
I haven't really gotten creative with the names. I've just been trying to figure out like different simple syrups to make, or, you know.
Oh my gosh. I love that idea. I might do it.
Good. Quarantine cocktail.
Quarantine cocktail. I love it. And it sounds awesome too. Shelby and Brittany, how about you guys? What are you doing to stay busy during this time?
I think like office wise, just kind of doing all those like little projects that like I sit there and think of like randomly that I want to do. But then, I mean, I see full hygiene patients all day and I just never get done, and they sit there and I'm like, I have to get this done, which has been nice. But otherwise, like at home, honestly, we've just been kind of hanging out. I have 2 little kids, and so, I mean, I have an infant and like a toddler, and we just, you know, we hang out and play and just kind of do our thing. I just get to spend time with them. But then like I've also like I set like a project or 2 like a day that I have to get done. Like I go through their drawers and like organize stuff and just, you know, try to get rid of the junk that my son shoves everywhere that I can't get rid of when he's around. So and just kind of doing that kind of stuff too at home. Like,
what do you do to keep the kids busy during this time?
It kind of depends. Like, if the weather's nice, like we have pigs and stuff, and we'll go out and like see the animals and do stuff like that, or ride our bikes. And then otherwise, like we jumped on the window painting bandwagon and
that's
the
so
window.
cool.
And
fun!
We painted some pots and planted some little plants and stuff like that too. So.
Yeah, especially that spring is here. I mean, we got snow in Chicago today. So I was thinking like, I'll do some gardening within the next couple of weeks. And I'm like, okay, forget it. Like we got snow again. But I like your idea with the window painting, because I think a lot of parents right now are just struggling with the whole like kids staying home and doing the e-learning. I heard like from what my friends tell me, like their kids are not really successful at that. It's chaotic. So I saw
something about you can like virtually tour like aquariums and stuff. A lot of like places have like so I don't know. I shared that with my sister. I don't have kids, but
that's awesome. Brittany, and I saw in your bio you mentioned that you have a 9-year-old, right? How are you guys?
I do.
E-learning, right?
We are, yeah. It's going okay. I mean, we have our good days and our bad days. I I think for her, it's harder to be home and not be around her friends and stuff. So keeping her motivated to do schoolwork.
Right.
But like Andrea mentioned, we do virtual tours of like museums or aquariums. They have really cool stuff out there right now for parents and kids to do. That's for free. So just been trying to take up on those offers and get outside when we can. It snowed here a couple times, so trying to stay warm.
Did you guys get snow today, just like Chicago, or no?
No, not where I live. Like Denver and Boulder and those cities down that way have been getting hit. Not so much my little town. It's just been cold.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. We're almost in May, so.
I
know. Daisy says every day's happy hour. Yeah, going back to Andrea's cocktail idea.
Yeah, a happy hour gets earlier and earlier.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. So Courtney's sharing, she has 4 kids. Oh my gosh. So you're so busy, and we've been fine just tuning out our pillow fort skills. Oh, that's so cool. Movie nights, games and stuff too. And my husband and I also do candlelight date nights on the patio. Oh, that is awesome. Hey, I'm gonna
very nice.
I'm stealing that idea. That's so cool. And it's snowing here too now, Amber says. Yeah. This is just like, I think it's just a crazy time because we try to stay busy, but then at the same time, like I mentioned, like that article I was reading the other day, it's like, where do you find that motivation? But this is an excellent time to go in and just stay organized in your office, because you're not going to find that time once we go back. And we have these conversations within the Zen team all the time. It's like, what will the offices, what will like our schedules be like once we return to work? So I'm just always curious to see. It's like all the hygiene patients, like I'm sure Shelby's thinking about this, like the recall, like the 6-month recall and that fun stuff. It's like everything's getting shifted over, right? So
it's hard. It's stressful because like my SRP patients I've started that I'm pushing out, or my 3-month recalls, and where to put these patients, and it's hard. Like my period maintenance patients, it's hard.
We're only open Monday through Thursday, but we've kind of talked about picking up some Fridays just to like add patients in, because we already, before all of this, didn't have like a lot, like we were pretty slammed already with hygiene. It was really hard to get patients in of like within the month. So we're gonna probably like have to add in some extra days just to kind of catch up.
Yeah, to just accommodate like everybody's schedule. Not that we'll be coming back. Are your offices open on Saturdays? No.
No.
No. How about your office?
No, we work Monday through Thursday. Thursdays we do stay late though, but like after all this, we're gonna add back Friday mornings to kind of try to accommodate everything. Hygiene busy is always really busy because there's 3 of us full time with 1 doctor, so
oh my god,
all of us going. So
yeah, we got to do one of these webinars, like once we go back to work, once things kind of like settle back in, I'll probably reach out to you guys, and I can't promise when that's going to be. I just don't know. And we'll share with the Zen users, like what, like what we talked about and what came out of this whole conversation with like staying organized and what your schedules look like, because I think it's an excellent thing to share with everyone. Dr. Sully said,
what?
Maybe now. I'm not sure what he's referring to. Maybe like going back to work now. Yeah, that'd be cool, but no, not yet. So ladies, thank you so much for your time. I took a lot of notes. So Andrea, if you have anything to share with us in terms of like the 3D printing, any links or resources, just send me an email. I'll be able to share with the Zen users. It's an excellent thing to look into during this time. And thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your inventory processes. I think, and I hope everybody took something out of this webinar, and just stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.